What are some dumb purchases you made? Lifetime Megavideo subscription. It was shut down shortly afterwards for copyright infringement. Well, you get what you paid for. It was just that it was for Megavideo's lifetime, not yours. When I was 17 I had unknowingly saved up a lot $2,000 from work. I chose to spend this on a double-neck guitar. My first time in Germany, I was only there for a few months, so I thought, I don't need a Bon card, I'm not here for a full year. Then I spent well over €1,000 on train tickets. The whole time I could have been saving 50% and collecting loyalty points. Bought $50 worth of Beanie Babies because I thought they'd be worth something. Also bad, buying those plastic tag protectors, and an expensive giant case to display said Beanie Babies to keep them in pristine, collectible condition. I once spent $15 on a Postmates order for ice cream. Reminds me of when I ordered pizza because I wanted a soda. I traded a rather rare volume into a local used bookstore because I had 2 of them. Then went back to the bookstore a month later and excitedly bought my own book back because it was rare and I didn't think I owned it. I was wrong. Deciding to go to grad school in 2012 to 5 years after graduating for no other reason than I have no clue what to do with my life. Bought a onesie for my Great Dane, don't know why I bought it but I think he liked it. A cactus that lights up. Spent over $100 or more buying clothes for my avatar on a virtual reality game when I could have spent it on, actual clothes. I bought a faceless doll to scare people. Turns out I was the most scared one. I bought several sign language books because I wanted to make friends with a deaf kid at my school. I ended up learning a tiny amount before discovering he was a total creep who wouldn't stop staring at my feet. I've bought a lot of how to kits books. Like how to knit, how to calligraphy, how to paint, how to write poetry, etc. Have I learned how to do a single one of those things? No, I have not. I used to buy Starbucks and/or lunch for several coworkers multiple times a week. I was in an incredible amount of debt. I bought an $80 pen one time. Edit, I was about 8 years old, and was driving to Florida from NY with my dad and sisters. My dad is super showy and I have no idea where he got the money, so at a rest stop, he handed us each a $100 bill and said, "Get whatever you want." So I bought the pen for $80. He was not happy when I got back to the car. Getting home drunk and spending $15 on the Animal Crossing app. This has happened 3 times. That's especially terrible as the currency is extremely overpriced yet can easily be obtained in-game. A house in 2007, it's still not worth as much as we paid for it. My parents bought in 2004. Around 2012-2013 when I was applying for the FAFSA, it gave an error when I entered that their mortgage was more than the house is worth. I commissioned an artist to paint a portrait of my then girlfriend's dying pet rat. She had told me her rat was about to die a month before I got it. By the time it was ready, the relationship had ended and I didn't know what to do with it. I paid $90 for it and it was absolutely worth the price. Artist did an amazing job, I just didn't have anyone to give it to now. I ended up giving it to her anyway. I regret doing that since I probably just made her feel guilty. Thing is, I was fully aware we were about to break up. I just liked her so much and I was totally alone in a new state. I didn't think I was good enough to earn her love, so I tried to buy it. Real dumb. $400 fish tank lighting. I wasn't carpenter enough to build the hood to mount it. It sits in the basement as a monument of my idiocy. An ex broke up with me. She was the first person I dated and didn't really know how to navigate the breakup, so I bought her a really thoughtful gift for her birthday a month later. What a waste of money and time looking back on it. There's a lot of things I'd regret more than a gift for someone else. She obviously mattered at some point. This kills me every time I remember it and it's honestly made me into the extreme money saver I am today. When I was younger, my family visited Niagara Falls. I had $50, which is a lot for a kid with no job, and was excited to buy some souvenirs. I spent it all on keychains. I only got like 6 of them, which made it to $50. They were all of the same place, too. It's not like they were from different cities. I wasted all the money I owned on freaking keychains. Who even uses those? It haunts me to this day. I had accidentally doubled my dose of pain meds right before I went to go see a showing of the film Drive. On my walk home I ordered a pair of what I thought was the gloves Ryan Gosling's character wears in the film. A week later I got them in the mail and realized they were 3 sizes too big and an entirely different color. $160 down the toilet. That night I took my Ambien and apparently decided to try again after staying on the computer after my sleep meds had kicked in. I bought the same pair of gloves. Not me, but my mom. She surprised me with a pair of fancy basketball shoes for my birthday, even though I'd never expressed any interest in such a thing, and I was neither cool nor athletic. I brought them to scout camp a few weeks later and lost one of them in the mud. They were original, size 11 Air Jordans. In 1984 or 1985. I'm usually pretty conservative with my spending, but I have bipolar disorder and sometimes when I am manic I go a little nuts with dumb purchases. My 2 worst are probably a top-of-the-line spin bike which I had never tried before for about $1,000 and I resold for $300 once I was out of the episode, and I also convinced myself to join a hockey league. I spent $1,200 on skates, pads, gloves, stick and helmet. I have never skated and I still haven't. All the gear is in the back of my closet and I cringe whenever I stumble across it. I bought an umbrella on a rainy day once from a cheap corner store that seemed like it was a hidden drug operation or something, and it broke that very day. $200 Gucci slides for my high school graduation. I bought Gucci flip-flops because of rap music. They're the right size but they cut up my feet if I walk more than what I assume is 3x the perimeter of an average pool. Those claw covers for cats to stop them from scratching up your furniture. They were ripped off the next day. He was gnawing at his little feet until everyone was gone. Accidentally bought stuff in Clash of Clans. Twice. I knew a guy in high school who worked at Burger King part-time just to exclusively fuel his Clash of Clans addiction. He legit spent his entire checks on that game. Wonder how he feels about it now. I bought books when I was in first semester, later realized that I could have read online. So sold them after the semester. Asterisk looks nervously at all the games on Steam, GOG that I've bought but haven't played ever. Asterisk the alcohol stove I've bought recently didn't work as well as I had anticipated. When I was in middle school I thought it would look cool if I had a ton of games on Steam, so I spent hundreds of dollars on random games that I only played for a few hours at most. Bought a motorcycle from somebody that didn't properly take care of it. There were a few small warning signs but I just let the fact it was the specific model I was looking for, in my price range, with things I could easily fix, cloud my judgment. Basically anything he touched on the bike I have had to replace, or more accurately, pay a shop to replace, because I don't have a garage or really the time, energy to do much of the work on it myself. It was a little bit cheap, and came with a bunch of spare parts, but I really wish I'd held out longer and paid a bit more for one that had been better looked after, because it would have probably worked out to be cheaper and less hassle to boot. But I live in a pretty small market and was after a specific model, so it might have been 6 to 8 months. My partner went out to buy vegetables for dinner and came home with a kayak. He forgot the vegetables and the kayak has never been used. Extra incubators for Pokémon Go back when I still played it. I went on a first date with the girl that I liked. We live in New Jersey and it was July, so obviously I took her to the boardwalk. While we were there I saw a vendor selling hermit crabs, and my dumbass thought it'd be funny to buy them as a joke and try to impress her. I then realized after spending $30 on 2 crabs, 2 because one would get lonely, that I needed a proper setup. So we went to PetSmart and got a tank, food, sand, and a log for them to play on. Long story short, I spent over $100 on hermit crabs and supplies. Not to mention that the girl completely friend-zoned me, which is okay because now I have my 2 crabs, Pickles and Jurgis, to keep me company. My phone died in the middle of Times Square. I was there on a school trip and was alone for about 4 hours. I ended up buying a charger from a gift shop that was marked up to $50. I ended up paying $30, and it was the shittiest charger I have ever used in my entire life. I can still remember looking at the screen when it booted up to say, 9 hours and 30 minutes until fully charged. My first pack of cigarettes. I have so many, maybe the personal training package and gym membership I kept too long because I felt awkward canceling. I'm still fat. I bought my then boyfriend a brand new Nixon watch for his birthday, then found out the next day he was cheating on me. His best friend really seemed to enjoy the watch though. I bought a rare exotic cucumber from a guy who said it would give me good luck. I'm a student, so basically anything that isn't groceries. I paid $300 for an inflatable stand-up paddleboard that I've only used once. A $200 Monopoly board game made of wood I found at Winners. It has a drawer for the money and Monopoly game pieces, but the dividers are made of plastic, thin cheap plastic like the original board game. I was unimpressed, so has to return it. You know those big balloon things you sometimes see in grocery stores? I bought a 2-foot Trex balloon for like $8. I tied the string to my dog's tail and threw her toy. It was funny how she carried it around. Dumb purchase? Probably. Fun purchase? Yes. In 1997, Apple stocks were at an all-time low, $4 per share as I recall. I went to a financial advisor to inquire about purchasing Apple stocks. Instead, he convinced me to invest my $5,000 in a safe labor-sponsored mutual fund that had a 70% tax rebate. The labor-sponsored fund is now tied up in litigation for mismanagement and worth nothing. If I had invested in Apple instead, those shares would now be worth $3.2 million.